I am at liberty to sit down and read a book or listen to music or just walk out there and have nothing planned for the day. And then if something crops up like family outing, it's just a spur of the moment decision to be made. But that's something I like doing. And I don't think people expect that I am the kind of person who would have that sort of spontaneity. In many divorces and matrimonial cases, the focus is on the couple. And although the court is very cognizant that children's interests are paramount, quite frequently the voices of the children or the voice of the child is left silent, and somebody needs to pick that up. And that's where, in the appropriate case, the court will appoint a child representative who will act as the voice of the child or the children. And what we do is, as the child representative, we make appointments, schedule meetings with the child or the children. We ask them questions and we try to journey alongside them during the time where we receive our appointment. And as much as we can, we take on board what we can see, what we hear, what they tell us to be their concerns, their needs, their interests. And then after that, we try our best to see how that relates to their wider world, their relationships with their caregivers, the school, friends, relatives, all of that. And then make certain recommendations. When we reach a point where we can share that with the parents and they accept those as coming from an independent party, a good endpoint would be for them to accept those recommendations if they think that is fair, and then they incorporate it within their agreement and they move forward without further requirement for the child representative to present a report to the court. But in certain cases, one party or both may feel that there's some points of disagreement, and that's when the child representative makes a recommendation to the court. And then the court will make its own findings. Appointment certainly is a formal appointment, and parts of the appointment and the work are formalistic. But the action or actions of a child representative are very frequently informal in nature. So going down to see the child or the children, you meet them in their homes, or sometimes you meet them outside in places where the child is used to, is familiar, they are familiar. So I met children having ice cream in Haagen-Dazs, right? I met them in their favorite restaurants. I brought them to clubs or other places where they can just be by themselves or be themselves and just observe if there are more than, one sibling, to see their interactions, to spot certain things which I think you need in order to arrive at some kind of a considered decision, what's in their best interest. But a large degree is informal. I mean, some cases would involve you trying to, using the word mediate, the children's relationship with one parent or sometimes both. And in certain cases, it evolves into you trying to mediate the parents' relationship with each other vis-a-vis the child. When parents are involved in a dispute where they are investing time to lock horns with each other, sometimes they are thinking through the advice given to them by their lawyers. What do I need to do in order to demonstrate that to the court that I'm the best caregiver for the child or for the children? And sometimes it takes on a certain degree of artificiality, and I think children sometimes are very wise in their own way to spot that a parent doesn't normally do something that they do, but because of how the process is going to court, the parent ends up doing something which the child considers to be artificial in that sense. The case, for example, of a child who sees the father videotaping him when they go to the beach. I mean, in today's environment, the handphone and recording is ubiquitous, right? But then, recording for fun and recording with some seriousness for the purpose of a certain objective related to the court proceedings, I think the child can spot that. A child who has not had good years with a parent, right? And suddenly the parent becomes extremely nice to the child, buys gifts and so on. Again, it brings on this question in the child's mind, makes him question what's going on. And some of, if parents in that state are prepared to listen, they might find themselves finding new things about how they have drifted away from the child or the children. And if lawyers are prepared to nudge the parents to sitting down and listening to, say, a third party speak about maybe what might be useful to repair that relationship, then sometimes things can happen. But I've seen cases where I see something very egregious, conduct of a parent towards a child, and when I provide a suggestion, I find that the pushback is robust because the parent doesn't want to hear about how a child seems to be rejecting his style of parenting or her style of parenting. But those are difficult moments, right? Because it's difficult, I think, for a parent to think that a child is rejecting him or her, because to that parent, rejecting you means you are favoring the other parent.